This is the Final Round Podcast, coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt. Good afternoon, good evening again. Welcome to episode number 10 of the Final Round Drag Racing Podcast, the part of our Double Duty Thursday, if you will. Joining us here in the studio is Mike Haynes, and we've got Frank and Bill from the Gas Racing Series making the trip in. Jason Oldfield also hanging out with us at the kitchen table over there. Eventually, that is going to be the new center hub of all the production that goes on here. So yeah, wait till you see when we get everything reorganized in here. It's going to be pretty awesome. But very, very gracious guest tonight, making room for everybody as we work through our double booking endeavor tonight. Guys, appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us, and you got a chance to kind of see how the show works. So now you got to be totally comfortable and ready to talk all about the Gas Racing Series. We traded a couple messages on Facebook about the Gas Racing Series. You guys spending a lot of time at Empire Dragway. Take us through a little bit of how you got started and where things are at now, because you guys are about ready to roll out some really cool new changes.
Well, it started probably 11 or 12 years ago. 7 to 9 of us decided to take our cars and head out to Empire and have a picnic and do some drag racing. And
that was that.
That was it.
Yeah, we just went up there. It was I know it was a fall, late fall, and it was just the group running against each other pretty much. Just it was like a test and tune weekend, and then everybody, let's throw some money in the hat. And between hamburgers and hat money, we developed a racing series.
That's all it took, huh?
Yeah.
Now a lot of people follow our format.
Yeah. And now there's been a lot of hamburgers and hat money have gone by.
Well, I mean, the series, it automatically it appeals because you've got that gasser look that's so iconic, and you were talking about before we got the show going was the fact that you can just look down and the place is just full of cars, because that gasser it ties back to so many great memories and it for the roots of street racing and everything. So being able to tap on that is unique. But at the same token, how many of these cars are local? How much of this stuff is based here, and how many of these cars are coming from out of town?
It's pretty much all local.
It is.
Out of town, we have cars that come up from PA and stuff like that, but, outside of Rochester and Buffalo, the Falls, that's our base.
A member that was just talking to me had a race at Lebanon Valley, or participated in a race at Lebanon Valley last fall, and he lives, I forget the name of the town, but he lives an hour and a half north of basically there.
Okay.
And he used to race with us before and drive that distance to Empire race, and he said he was actually contemplating moving back towards Rochester, Buffalo, so that he could more easily participate with the Gas Racing Series.
That's crazy.
And he's a great guy, and we'd love to have him. So we've had members that have been members that lived in the northwestern part of Pennsylvania. We got members out of Binghamton. We got a membership. The guy that lives in Goshen.
We got members in Canada.
We got Canadian members. There's a pretty broad brush as far as GRS membership goes.
What's in the cars? First off, what identifies a gasser versus something else? It's got that look where the nose is jacked way up in the air, and then from there it can go crazy. You've got the Chevys that we talked about before, then you've got some of those coupe style bodies like we talked about on the phone. What makes the gasser within Gas Racing Series versus other series that are out there?
Well, we've taken a different approach right from the beginning. It was the intent of the Gas Racing Series to be an inclusive group instead of an exclusive group.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down to our rules are a little bit more liberal than some of the other Gasser Racing Series or the Gasser Series that are out there. And it's more because Gassers in the day weren't all 40 wheelies with straight axles and their noses in the air. It was quite a diverse group of cars. So we've been more liberal on that. Of the two classes that have gotten us to today, which is gasser and mod, we are stricter on the gasser rules. We want them to really, basically, for years we've gone what's called a duck rule. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So on the gasser, if from the stands the car pretty much looks like a gasser, it's a gasser. There's things that we're big, no electronics and kind of keep it simple organization. We don't want modern era stuff in the gassers. One of our base rules is for our gasser class is no parts that seem to be engineered after 1971 or 2 is the date in there. So you can buy them brand new parts, but basically if the engineering was done way back when, that's what we want. That's what gets, make sure you have the era correct parts. The mod is pretty much everything else prior to 1974. So that's kind of how we base our rules, because we do have a couple cars that could be gassers, but with the right parts on them, or in our gasser class with the right parts on them, but they don't. So they just go into the mod class. We treat everybody the same. The payouts break down the same. And everybody's pretty much, both classes are handled the same. So.
And then the mod class, both classes, you mentioned pre-1974. So as long as it's a pre-1974 body style.
For modified.
Okay.
In gasser, it's 66 and earlier.
Okay.
And then we got some news coming up on that. There's a little tweak coming there, but
no electronics either class, though. Correct?
No. Yeah, pretty much the electronics to us is delay boxes or any of that type.
Rev limiter is okay.
Well, and here's where it gets fussy. Don't allow two steps in gasser.
Yep.
Because back in the day, if you're sitting in the stands, you never heard anything like two-step.
That's right.
So our gasser, again, being tighter on the rules,
yep.
We don't allow them because you wouldn't have heard it back in the day. Modified, we allow them. We allow trans brakes. Really, again, from the stands, can I tell you just left off a trans brake? No. All right, we let it go.
Right.
But other than that, no other control, no throttle stops.
Right.
None of that stuff. It's supposed to be, our motto is a picnic where a drag race breaks out. We're supposed to be back there having a picnic and going, oh, crap, we got to go racing. When that happens, we're having a good day.
Right.
Not that there's any against it. It's all about like-minded people enjoying the day. And now, that's basically the premise.
And you haven't experienced one of these races,
no.
Chris.
No, it's all heads up, right? Or do you run?
No.
On time?
We used to run paired by ETs,
right?
Which was we would qualify you and then 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4, and so on.
Right.
Recent in the last several years, 3 or so years, we do random pairs for the first round. We do a ladder for the draw. We do a random pairing for the first round. Occasionally, we do some what we call opens, where you don't have to be a member to run with us. Then we usually pair by ETs again, but usually it's paired by random draw.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and when they say it's a picnic where a race broke out, not kidding. I have to say that you guys, it seems like we get on the schedule, the Western New York Super Auto Association and the Gasser Racing Series, it seems like we end up on the schedule at Empire together a lot. So I don't get ever chance generally to enjoy the picnic like I have in years past before I ran the Western New York Super Auto Association. But yeah, I have to say, a few years ago, last time I remember going over there, it's like it was a very serious picnic. Literally, Chris, like 60 feet worth of tent set up like you would expect at a buffet, big deal. I mean, it's a huge deal.
We like to eat.
We can tell. You just left yourself way too open for that.
We're just lucky we raced, so we got a tent we can go eat. Yeah. But no, that's everything we do. We went to Lebanon Valley, and we weren't very strong car count-wise. We had a picnic. Yeah. It's one of our, I call it a cornerstone. We do not have a GRS event that we don't have a picnic. It's just the way it's part of business.
Now, how do you organize the food for the picnics? Is it part of the entry fee that gets paid? I mean, obviously, probably part of the membership, right?
Hands away from the food as fast as you can.
Yeah.
I still have all my fingers. No, we do. The GRS will usually buy the condiments, the hamburgers, hot dogs, and rolls.
Okay.
We ask for people to bring a dish to pass, and we do a donation.
Okay.
To cover the cost of the hot dogs, hamburgers, and rolls. And then we're set up. We have 2 huge gas grills. Frank cooks them. And we it's, again, we've done it so many years now, we have it's just, you open the trailer door and the next thing you know, poof, there it is. It's just from years of doing it.
Now, I know when I've been at the picnic before, I've been invited over. Is it open to anybody? I mean, could anybody stop by and buy a ticket for $5 or whatever it is? I mean, it really is for Gasser members, right? Right. Okay. Yeah, I would say because
their guest.
Right.
And their guest.
Right. Yeah. I would say because I was invited over the couple of times that I partook, but I never really knew. It's like, all right, is this open? I mean, it's kind of a fundraiser, if you will, type of thing, or.
It is a fundraiser for the GRS that we do. It's a courtesy and it's a benefit to the members, again, because part of the way we work is as a GRS member and as a racer, you go and we all pit together, and you can go do whatever you want pretty much in the confines of our area, and somebody always comes and tells you it's time to race, and so we get to go. And then somebody always comes over, hey, it's time to eat. So it's kind of, that's the premise of the way we do it. So, and it's also a good time because it's supposed to be about this community. It's supposed to be about the Gasser community and hang around with each other. And mostly, I prefer to pick on people.
So you preferred the me calling Mike fat comment.
It was well put.
Oh, he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't know you called him fat. But
oh no, he definitely did. That's exactly.
I'm not going to argue. Me being the svelte individual that I am, but I just prefer full grown. The rest of you got some work to do. But no, that's just the way. It's about like-minded people enjoying the experience of the race day, and then having somebody to help you get to have more fun.
Okay, now I have to ask this question. So, I mean, I think this was prior to us going on air. We were kind of just discussing how it's fun. It's super fun most days. It's still fun on those other days. And, in a series where you guys really take it to an extreme, I guess I'll say, with regards to, it's the picnic where a race broke out type of thing. It's like you pretty much say right in your bylines that, look, we're here for fun. That's why we're doing this, right?
Right.
I'm sure over the course of the 10-plus years that you guys have been doing this, that at some point in time you've probably had to take somebody aside and tell them, look, we're doing this for fun, and you need to back off just a little bit and not be so cutthroat at the racetrack, right? I mean, there has to be somebody. Or have you really made it a dozen years and never had to have that conversation? And I'm not asking you to name names.
Oh, we won't name names.
So who's the worst fighter in GRS?
Well, we got no fighters. I can do an age shot where half of them would break a hip if they tried to fight. I won't go down that road. There's no problem with racers out on the track being cutthroat.
That's right.
And doing whatever. But again, it is, I don't know that we've had any problems with any, racers as far as racing and stuff like that. There's, anytime you get a group of, I think our best year we've had, what we used to do in 2013, for instance, we used to put 70 cars.
I would say my recollection was 70 cars,
we had
right?
35 cars in each class. We've last year I think we had 50. We pared back. It's pared back a little. We didn't do it. It just happened. So when you get that many people with a competitive spirit, sometimes there's issues, but nothing that
Because there's some people they're serious racers,
Right.
and then there's racers there to have fun.
That's right.
And sometimes the serious racers get really serious, and
Sometimes the fun people get really fun.
I say I personally have no problem with the competition going to the extreme level once those guys pull into the burnout box, right? I don't have any issue with it there. But I mean, I've even had to remind guys in the Western New York Super Yacht Association essentially that, look, at the end of the day, yes, we're all here to win. We're all very competitive, and we don't have a picnic breaking out at our races, but we're all friends here. We all have to race with each other multiple times across the year. And when it comes right down to it, let's say you won this weekend. Let's say you win both races. We're having a double. You win both races. Okay. You didn't win the NHRA World Championship. Yeah. You're not President of the United States of America.
Right.
You just won 2 races or a race at the Western New York Super Yacht Association. Yeah. It's just not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. You got to remember why you're really out here. Right. We're not. You didn't win a race and now become financially independent, and
right. Yeah.
With the GRS. No, actually, on that, we have. All the racers are great guys and gals. Our gal is, But, no, for the most part, everything's good. And those are the good days. Like, we have a racer that, if you ever seen a GRS trophy, I feel we should have brought one. We've never had the same trophy twice. We hand build our own trophies.
Oh, no kidding.
They're topped with our championship trophies, 40 inches tall with a 1/18 scale muscle machine on top. Our weekly trophies are 30 inches tall, and we do like a little diorama. It's got 2 little muscle machines at a tree leaving the starting line.
Now, who does that?
We do.
The 3 of you build them?
Yeah. Well,
the board gets
the board gets
we get
together.
volunteers, and we build them up, and we make them, and there's never been 2 alike ever in 10 years.
That's very cool.
And all the Mopars we slant those down a little bit farther.
Just behind the Chevys every single time.
They're behind them.
You have to start if there's going to be any chance at all. But anyways, but this guy, he wins a trophy and he's giddy, and he should be. He's just won, and he's happy and he's so proud of this trophy. And I go, well, make sure you go to the tower and get your money. He goes, I'm getting money too. So there's a big draw for. And that's what the GRS brings, I guess, is my point as well, is that it's everything we do is to make the racer feel unique and feel like he's accomplished something. But again, at no point is he quitting his job because he's racing with the GRS. Now he's got yeah.
Now, all 3 of you, are all 3 of you founding members, I guess, of the GRS?
I think I started when the first year you guys were going to do the mod class. I think that's when I started.
The car count started to decline, I think, that year,
Well, because Mike was there, clearly.
Nobody wanted to race me.
Clearly.
There you go.
No, Frank and I were at, Frank's been the promotions guy forever, right?
Yeah.
And I've either been the assistant director or the race director forever.
You guys go around to multiple tracks?
Thompson.
Yes.
And then, like this year, they went to Lebanon Valley. But as a lot of the guys will get together and go to the different events and everything, you know what I mean? But not as the GRS.
It's not a GRS sanctioned event.
Yeah, they represent.
They'll travel.
Right.
They'll pit together and they'll hang out together. Ed was talking about Beaver Springs earlier, and the last time a group of our guys went down there, they were referred to by Beaver Bob as the Empire Brewery. Or something to that effect. Because a lot of guys will travel in a group,
right?
And to go race at another nostalgia event, and they represent the GRS well.
We'd like to travel to a couple different places. Like we always do Thompson. We wanted to pick someplace different this year.
We're working on.
Yeah, we're trying to work out the second spot right now.
Well, what's a racetrack got to do in order to book you? Like, if Outlaw Speedway wants to book the Empire Super Sprints for a weekend, there's a particular criteria that have to be met. So what's the racetrack have to do? Just open up the gates? So they have to work out extensive contracts? What's the protocols there in order to break out and hit other places?
Right, we're probably one of the most flexible organizations you're ever going to come up with. You'd be surprised how far backwards I can bend. But no, basically all our purses and such are sponsored purses. So if we were to travel to another track that wasn't some other prearranged event, because for instance, what we do, when we do an open at another track, like we do at Sunday Niagara, is basically a gambler's race. We organize and we run our event within an event, and then we just collect some money, and then we do a little simple payout and a trophy at the track. To go in, if somebody wanted us to come in, which we'd be glad to do, barring scheduling, it's just we'd have to sit down and make sure that our racers and cost, a decent purse was put up for our racers, and that expenses were covered, and that's about it. So I think I sat down. We're probably would be one of the most reasonable places to bring in a decent car, and we're going to potentially bring in, with what's going on now, a decent car count. We're not bringing 8 cars, 10 cars to wow the fans. We have potential of bringing,
Yeah, I would say that's a nice thing, is that you guys have enough of a following that you have a little bit of leverage from that standpoint. I mean, you start talking to a track and saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to bring in 50 cars plus all the crew people that go along with it. That's pretty significant to, a lot of the small tracks around here.
Yeah. What are you looking at in terms of persons per car? I mean, that's always a big thing that we come across in racing. In a particular division, you're going to average 8 cars with this division, eight people with this division, but in the pits. But you might only have 3 people with this other division. Where are you guys at?
3.4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
About.
I mean,
3.4.
Yeah. I mean, it's, like, usually if I go, there's 2 people, 3 people with me.
But that's pretty good. I mean,
the type of cars, with your reference to stock car racing, the crews are a little bit bigger in general, just to get the car going. In our classification of racing, there's not a lot of, one guy can probably do it. 2 guys makes it easy, and sometimes, like Ed has to do, got to drag the wife along. Ed's not even playing, and he's playing. But
I enjoy having her.
So that's kind of where it is. But I think from our statistics of the past, the number 3.4 keeps coming around.
It's pretty good. I mean, you're looking at 3 people per car.
Very good.
That's good, real good.
Yeah, and again, that number one. I mean, obviously, knowing that number is. I won't say it's important. Well, it is important, but it's really impressive because I bet you, most series that you talk to, including myself, I don't know what that number is, quite honestly. So, I mean, knowing what that is, that's certainly impressive. But number 2, having that number be so high is, again, it just gives you a lot of leverage to go and talk to tracks. So, it's certainly impressive. I mean, overall, the growth of the series has been, you said, I don't remember if this was as we first started the show or was after or before, but it was 9 guys at the first race.
7 or 9, I can't remember.
Yeah. So I guess let's call it you grew to 70 about. How long did it take to get from that 9 to 70?
Probably
4 years.
2013
we had
2000.
We were putting 70 cars.
Yeah, so
3 years.
Yeah, 3, 4
3
years.
years. And what did you do to try to draw more cars, to draw that many cars? I mean, to draw that many cars to begin with is really impressive, but to do it in such a short amount of time, was it just word of mouth? Hey, I mean, we're racing the series.
So really, that's my take on it is that I truly believe that the GRS had, right from the inception, was thought out well. A quality product was put together, and has been maintained through diligence. And just we have these cornerstones. We monitor these cornerstones, and it's not the easy road. There's a lot of times it's not the easy road. It'd be a lot easier to do to not have a picnic, to not do these certain things. But and these guys hear me say the same things over and over again. But it's through that diligence that without that, like an event without a GRS event without a picnic is not a GRS event. Your customer, which is our racers, has expectation, whether they have them or not. They expect to have that picnic, whether they participate or not. The first time we have a race and we don't have a picnic, that's the guy that's going to go, where's the picnic?
Right.
So, but every time Mike, Frank, myself, and Chuck Kirby, who's the assistant race director, who's not here with us tonight, we all put forth the same effort week in and week out and try to give the racers, the same experience. When they come to the track, they know what they're getting. And when you do that, and again, that trophy product that they get, and when you do that, then that guy should be telling somebody else.
Right.
Because you want your buddies to have fun with you. And then those people come with it, and then it just goes from there.
Yeah.
What can the racer base support? I mean, you've got twice in May, once in June, 2 in August, 2 in September, plus the 3 participation events beyond that. So you've got about a 10-race season right now. How many can you go up to and still have that population of 40, 50, 60 cars? I mean, what can it support? They race every time?
We ran 10 before. 10 was a little hard.
Yeah.
10 points races.
Right.
That's why we knocked it back down to 8, because just the way we do it, I think we have enough there that, if we had more on the schedule and everything like that, I think you would lose some cars.
So in order to go to other tracks, you would have to reduce the number of events at Empire.
Right.
And that's the big difference also between, and that's kind of why our car count has somewhat diminished, is that back when the GRS was leading the way in this.
Yeah.
The GRS, when we started it was basically the NHRA series, Nostalgia series that they had, and a couple other races here and there.
Right.
But the Willys Home Run was an event at the time. But other than that, at the time there were no other Nostalgia drag racing series. We were the first one out there. So it was, in essence, easy. I mean, that was easy pickings because there was, these other cars had 2 or 3 Nostalgia events regionally that they could go to within reason. Well, now you're getting one every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. We're drawing at the time 70 cars. There's some of these big events that weren't drawing 70 cars, and we're doing it once, twice a month at the time. Well, now every track out there, pretty much, exaggerating obviously, but there's a lot of other Nostalgia series out there. So now people, without naming names, we had a racer out of Northwest Pennsylvania that used to come and race with us. Well, now the track in their area has a Nostalgia series that's 20 minutes away. They were driving 3 hours, or we're good, but we're just not 2.5 hours.
Sure.
Let's say.
Right.
So she's driving, that half an hour to the local track and having fun, and that's what it's really about. That we're, if we were able to get them to go and have this experience, and I'm happy with that. So that's kind of what.
Well, now Empire had their, I don't know, they might still, honestly, Empire had their own Gasser series, at least for a while. Did they still have that now?
I believe it's done.
Okay. So I was going to ask, did that help or hurt the GRS?
Well, our guys would go race that.
Sure.
Jerry scheduled us, we set up the schedule, Bill offset, so they could race with us, we race with them.
Right, yep.
So that was,
Yeah, but, did you see, because now we had another series that more people were building cars to compete. Let's call it in the Gasser series, and or did you find that? All right, well, the GRS is a 10-race series, and these two dates here, they don't work great for me. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip those races, and I'm going to go to the Empire Gasser series. That did they work any? Did you see that, or?
It was more. I think more racers had. They have different. The two series were definitely not run in the same fashion. Where we were more about the pomp and circumstance when we go up the staging lanes,
right?
Or up the return road for staying. Those, the Empire series, they would just pull into the staging lanes normal, and they were just. It was just two different ways of running programs.
Similar, the same classes essentially.
They were.
I mean, because I would say, from my standpoint, if I said, all right, you know what, today I'm going to create myself a Gasser series, and I'm going to compete against the GRS. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the GRS's classes, and I'm going to say I'm going to create those classes so I can draw those guys, right? And then I'm going to say, all right, now how else can I potentially draw some more people into my series that the GRS might not get? So, I mean, if that wasn't the case, if Empire wasn't running, if your guys couldn't just go race with the Empire series, then it seems like, I mean, you guys, in my opinion, are the picture of how to do this. So,
Thanks.
I mean, it's the imitation's the sincerest form of flattery type of thing, right? And
Right.
I mean, clearly, if I was going to create a Gasser racing series, I mean, it would be. I'd copy you guys is what I would do.
I want to call it a different name, though. I think
I'd probably try to do that, right?
Get a little confusing. No, and there's another series that the Tuesday night group up in Lancaster. Again, it comes down to really preferences. I know the Empire series, their classes were somewhat similar to ours. I don't really dig into those other classes, those other.
Well, you don't have to. You're the 800-pound gorilla, so.
Yeah. Now he's calling me. But anyways, no, it's not so much that. It's
Jason's
just
dropping the gloves.
I don't. It's not that. It's just the fact that they do their thing, we do our thing. We embrace our racers going and represent. I want a racer to go race with another group and come back with a trophy,
right?
Because it's end of the day, you go out there and you come back. A GRS racer goes and races, comes back with it's a GRS trophy in my book.
That's right.
It goes on the book, and so again, we welcome those people to come with us. So the more Gassers out there racing, the better it is, not just for the Gasser Racing Series, but it is for the series, the senior league out of Lancaster. And again, I think Jerry's class or Empire's class is they might be working on something, but I don't think there's going to be something. So it's all good in the
I
grand
never
scheme.
really looked at the rules to see how close they were, to ours. I never looked at Jerry's rules to see what they were.
They were close, but they were even a little looser.
Yeah. I guess I would say it would depend really on whether or not you were planning on going and racing that series, right? I know I've looked. There's probably once every couple of years there's a new class that comes up that I look at, and I mean, though I love still racing Super Gas and Super Rod, I mean, I still long for the days of being able to go heads up racing. Unfortunately, my wallet is too thin to be able to do that. Yeah. But every once in a while, I hear some kind of proposal for a new class or something that's come along, and I always look at the rules to see, okay, can I go run this? So I mean, that's I guess why I might.
I do the same thing. There is a class coming up this year, that I can fit into.
Yeah.
I don't think I can really be competitive, but I can fit into it finally. So so there's things that are always opening up. Go give it a whirl.
Right. Yeah. So I guess that's why I'd look at the other guys' rules. But it's funny you mentioned how you look at how your competitors do when they go run other races. And it's like, I feel the same way with the Western York Super Rod Association. When, one of our guys goes out to an NHRA or IHRA division or national event, I mean, there's definitely, I don't know why. I mean, it's not like I'm their dad, or it's not like I've groomed these people or done anything, but I definitely feel a sense of pride. It's like, hey, you know what? That's one of our racers that just went out and won that race.
Right.
Well, you're still friends with them. You like to see your friends do good. So, yeah. If they go someplace else and do really well, then that's great.
That the way I feel, you'd think that I taught them everything they knew, And, nothing could be further from the truth, of course. So they don't want to learn from me. But so, I mean, going into this year, so how many races total? Was it 11?
Well, right now we're at 9, tickling 10. We're trying to work out the deal, or work out on something for another out-of-town race.
Now, have you...
The schedule for them is May the 13th and May the 27th, June 17th, August 12th and 26th, September 9th and the 23rd, as the 2017 point season comes into form. The GRS is also going to be racing at Thompson Raceway Park for a Gasser reunion. The Gold Cup on the 21st through the 23rd of July at Empire Dragway, and Nostalgia Sunday the 4th through the 6th of August at Lancaster.
And where would somebody find that?
That's going to be at GasserRacingSeries.com under the schedule tab. Specifically.
On or about. These three websites.
Now, have you, I'm sure you guys have seen, and I don't even know what it's called, the series that Quayne Stott has kind of put together. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, has there been any discussions there?
He's all 4-speed. They're all 4-speed cars, and I've talked to him.
Yeah.
It's a good show. It's a wild show. I mean, those cars are crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Anything with a 4-speed in it that's got a 93-inch wheelbase is fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Frank would know.
We could. It'd be pretty hard to set something up with their schedule is wild, and you know what I mean. So, but no, I give them all the credit in the world for what they did. They're doing good down there.
Again, I'd love to do it, but I mean, that you have a bunch of old pro mod racers, I guess that I would call it, that are decided that pro mod was boring or went the wrong direction. So, hey, let's throw our money someplace else. And
right.
And that's part of with the GRS. There's again with that group, there's less of a money issue, we'll call it, than we're up here. We're just trying to make it so that everybody, even people that shouldn't be racing, can race.
Yeah.
And be competitive, and they stand as good a shot as anyone else. So that's kind of how our stuff kind of filters out. And that's why we have this second class, so that this modified class that lets these racers that aren't
we don't want to say that the modified class racers are second class racers, right? We're not saying that.
Of all my classes equally. But no, so that way, they can work towards, and there are, like I said, there's a couple cars that could be in Gasser with the right parts on them. This way they can at least race with us, they get the experience, and to be honest with you, they get at their pace, decide whether they want to do whatever, or they can just enjoy it at the level they're at now, or at the position they're at now.
Let me ask a question about kind of mod versus the Gasser class. So Gasser class, I mean, you would mention, it has to be, somewhat period correct parts, or was it pre-70?
Pre-72, I think, from memory.
So let's take a water pump. So if you were going to go out and put a water pump on your car, rather than going out and buying one of the new Mazir billet aluminum water pumps and putting that on the car, you'd expect someone to run one of the older Moroso cast water pumps with the electric pulleys.
No.
Not to that. We're not talking that level of detail.
From the bleacher, the 72 wheels pretty much from the bleachers.
Oh, okay.
We want wheels. We don't want a brand new set of weld wheels on there.
Yep.
We want. I think we'll allow center lines.
I would say center line, yeah.
Or even,
But a Krieger Super Trick would be great.
But that's about as modern a wheel we want to see in our Gasser class. Now, you can buy brand new ones.
Right.
But again, it's the engineering, it's the design. concept, so limits your hood scoops,
Yep.
limits your style of wings or spoilers or anything like that. It kind of limits that aspect.
So that definitely, from my perspective, just looking at it, so I was trying to understand. It's like, all right, does my '63 Corvette, would it have a chance of would it have stand a chance of fitting into the gasser class? And the answer is no. I have modern wheels in my car.
And
I
your
have
scoop.
the hood scoop exactly would not
Aero
fit.
scoop,
So if I went back to the old snorkel scoop, then that would certainly fit. And if I even went back to old wheels, but what's under the hood would be okay. Now,
Right.
electronics aside, assuming that I didn't run any electronics in the class, I could take my car and race it in the modified class.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The one thing we have, for instance, we have a 48 Anglia that runs in modified. 48 Anglia typically would have been a gasser back in the day.
Sure.
But he has an LS motor in it that he doesn't. You
Great
can
decision.
run an LS motor in it, but it has to have a distributor and a carburetor.
Yep.
He doesn't have that,
Okay.
so therefore he's in mod.
Yep.
If he wants to change that, then boom, he's that's kind of the how we do it.
Yep. Jim Zakia, does he still come out and run with you guys occasionally?
We don't pay
No.
near enough for him to come run with us, but no, he's more than welcome to. We love Jimmy.
I see.
Yeah.
So, at this point, if Jim were to come out, with his car, it's like, he would have to run in the mod.
You'd have to
class.
run in the mod, and
He
and
ran
then,
with us a few years ago.
He ran a time trial, and you'd have to unbolt some
Test
parts
and tune.
too. I think
Yeah,
he's got
okay.
some other
Testing
stuff.
to him good.
But his, I know he's working as diligently as he can on his old Anglia.
That's right.
Would love to see that thing out with us. And him and the whole Zakia crew.
Yeah.
Mary Kay makes some good chow.
Does she make the brownies?
No.
No.
Now, Frank, your car is beautiful, number one.
Thank you.
I guess, history-wise, what's the history behind your car?
It was a street car years ago from the Falls,
Yeah.
and then it was being converted into a drag car. Puppet
Yep.
built it, building it, and then the car got sold. And me and my brothers and my father went and looked at it, saw it in the paper for sale. We went and looked at it. It was sitting in a collision shop,
Yep.
and bought it for my dad and set it aside. And Dad passed away, and then I said, I'm going to build the Austin, so that's what we did.
So now, when did you guys get the car? When did Puppet have it? Puppet's been dead now. God rest his soul. It's got to be at least 10 years, I bet.
No, not. I don't think it's been 10. Not quite.
But regardless, so
yeah.
when was Puppet working on the car that you guys ended up?
A long time ago.
Yeah, I would.
Long time ago.
That's 70s easy.
Yeah.
So okay, so
In the
yeah,
70s.
Because
Yeah.
just my
And then,
understanding was that the car had been essentially in your family for quite a while.
yes.
Okay.
And then what we did was Bill updated some things for me
Okay.
on it. Bill took over and upgrade, put my bunny car cage in, front suspension, rear suspension, updated everything because it just had a 4-bar in it
Right,
and stuff like
right.
that. So
It had central tractor
yeah,
tractor parts in it
Okay.
for rear suspension.
Oh yeah.
so that's where we are with that.
And what does your car have for a power plant in it?
It's 468.
Okay. And what's the best that car has run?
But I haven't run it yet. This is going to be the first that's coming out this
Oh, is it?
year.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Yes.
Okay. I would say. And what's the wheelbase on that car?
94?
It's 2 inches long. It's 90.
Yeah, 94 I think it is.
That is going to be a fun ride for sure.
Yeah, because the chop on the top, and they sit almost in the back seat.
Right.
So the vision's, you're looking through this.
Yeah, no, only that tall.
Yeah. So
We're drag racers. We don't need to be able to drive, right?
Look at that way.
We just hold
Looking
on.
straight.
Now, Bill, you had mentioned that you don't count anymore.
Yeah, well, it's just just busy.
I guess how did you before the GRS? I mean, how did you get involved in drag racing from the beginning?
When I saw it on Wide World of Sports way back when it would be on like once or twice a year and during the summer.
Yeah.
I just, as I tell everybody, I fell in love with cars the very first time I rode one.
Yeah.
And have just always been that, and I've always kind of been an independent and a loner. Not this is the first club other than a fire department I think I've ever been a part of. And then I just, I started in the like we were talking earlier. I think the first time I went to Empire was 1980 or 81, and then just did my own thing and bopped around and didn't really run with the herd, let's say. And then family got in the way for a little while.
Yep.
I shouldn't say got in the way, but family came first for
quite
a while.
If the kids are listening, Dad apologizes.
No, they understand. But and then about the time just before we started, the very first that 7 to 9 car day, I was part of a different gasser organization, and the Gasser Gang of Western New York is the name.
Okay.
And,
is that defunct now?
no, they're still there.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm kind of I'm still a member, but I just too busy to actually go enjoy the stuff with them anymore. But and then that's how this kind of spun. That's where the GRS.
Well, I was going to say that's actually a nice lead-in, because I was going to ask that question. All right, we came up with there was 7 to 9 guys, but it's like, well, just 7 to 9 guys kind of hanging around. Hey, you want to do this? But that's what it just kind of spun out of that, and then we just went this direction. So that's kind of how I got into gassers, because even I at the time and wasn't a gasser guy. I've always been a muscle car and Mopar guy, so not too many Mopar gassers out there. I say we won't hold that against you.
Yeah.
That's all right. Some always got taste.
Sure do.
The rest you got.
She's saying all the right things to me.
Well, I would say if
I'm allergic to wool, the sheep can have it.
Yeah, anybody that knows me knows that even though, yes, I drive a Chevy, I'm still very partial to the Mopars with the family history. So I'm not going to throw too many stones, but I have to rib when I can.
Yes.
Now, Mike, I saw on Facebook that you're making a change to your car this year, right?
Yeah, I haven't had the car out since Jerry bought the track. One, because of the diaper rule.
Yeah.
I couldn't get one on there.
Okay.
So.
Because he's so big now.
Right. So I had to start doing some changes. So that's where I've been. It'll be back out this year. I finally got the blower for. I've had the injection hat for 2 years now. Finally got the blower for it. It's a little bit larger than what I had planned on, but someone told me to go big.
Or stay home, right?
Right. So I got the blower, went up a couple weeks ago to Grand Island, picked up the ignition system for it. So now I pretty much just got some odds and ends. The car's ready to go back to Bill's to have them put some more bars in it so it can get certified to 750. So get that out of the way. By the time he's done with the bars, the motor should be off the dyno and be ready to go.
Nice. Now, who's doing the motor?
Bill Travato.
Okay. He built a nice piece.
Yeah.
I say, has he always built your motors, or?
No, actually, my motor's been all over the place.
Has it?
Yep.
That sounds like a story that we don't want to get into.
No, I mean,
I've heard a few of those tragedies.
No tragedies.
Oh, okay.
It's just been all over. It's just convenience, like Dan Martin did it the last time because the car was up in Webster.
Yeah.
His shop's right there.
Okay.
Carl McQuillan actually did it for my father back in '92, I think, is when the block was all done.
Yeah.
And now it's at Bill's because Bill built my brother's motor.
Okay.
And so we decided to go with him this time.
Now, Chris, have you seen Mike's car?
Mike's? No. Not yet.
It's a purple 72 Vega wagon.
Let me see.
With a blower.
I'm not sure what cubic inch it's going to be now. Because I know he had to bore it out again.
No.
Oh, you had to bore it out again?
Yeah. Yeah, because Bill had the set of pistons that he had for someone else's motor that they decided to
Okay.
back out, so he gave me a deal on them, so go ahead and bore it out some more.
Well, better that than sleeving it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the goal, or what are you hoping for after all of this?
That part I really don't know, because I don't know exactly what it's going to do. I know people have asked me if the car's going to hold together with the motor in there. I'm not really.
Bill is over here burying his face in his hands.
I didn't build it. I'm good.
As long as, I just look at as long as the cage is in there and I got all the safety stuff. That's why I had him put a chute on it, because I was real close, before for needing it, and put the fire system in it, because with the alcohol, no one's going to know it's on fire before I do. So I put that in there.
Best pass previously?
Previously, well, it's kind of a long story. I didn't know the blower wasn't working until I took the motor out at Bill's house.
Okay.
That's when I noticed that the front snout was stripped.
Okay.
So the whole time that I've had it in the car the last time,
It's been ballast.
right, it only did 6 pounds of boost. And I
Okay.
could never figure out why, because I had fresh strips put in up the Audis. Come to find out, that was stripped, so the blower wasn't working, but it went 923 at 146. And it did 945, I think, on the dyno at $6,000. That's where they stopped it. It was still gaining.
Yeah.
So what it would have put out, I don't know.
So we're going to be...
And that was with the transmission I had in there at the time. Larry King built the transmission in 1998.
Okay.
I just took it out of the car. The torque converter that was in it, my father bought in 1992. And that was pretty smoked by the time I got it out.
So we're going to certainly be well into the 8s. Do you think you could see a 7 pop up on the...
Well, a guy last week told me that it should be in the 7s.
Wow.
So we'll see. But it's a little tiny car.
That is a little tiny car.
But at 146, it drove like a Cadillac. I didn't even know it was going that fast.
Do we know what the record is for the world's fastest or world's quickest Vega wagon?
No, but I remember being down. I remember when I was building the car, I went down to Memphis to watch NMCA. I don't know if they were called that back in '94.
Okay.
But there was a guy down there with a Vega. He was in the 7s with it, with stock suspension on the front of the car. Even had the Vega brakes in the front. And he said he didn't have a problem.
You'll be fine then.
So that's why I kept on building the way I was.
What's to worry about?
I mean, I got 5 lugs in the front now.
Right.
With the bigger brakes on it. He still had the 4 lugs in the front.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, definitely interested to see. Will you be out at the beginning of the season, you think?
Yeah, it'll be out.
Definitely interested to watch the first couple of passes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'll be fun.
You did some pretty good wheel stands with that car before.
I actually bent the wheelie bars. There was I never even knew that they were bent. The last time I had the car out,
It's kind of like the blower. You didn't know.
someone was
wasn't working.
taking pictures from the back of it, and I was laying in bed with my wife looking at the iPad where you can zoom in on the pictures, and I was zooming in the pictures that he was taking. I was like, man, the bars look like they're bent. Put my clothes back on, go out in the trailer, open up the door. Yeah, they are.
There are so many comments that I could make right now that being a family show.
Have at it. I'm not going there.
I'm going to let that go.
And you guys are getting ready to roll out another element of the Nostalgia program. You're going to have the Nostalgia Pro Stocks this year, correct?
Yeah. We were approached during our race season last year. Some people come up and were talking to us about Nostalgia Pro Stock, and I asked them to get a hold of me during the off season. We'd have a discussion. And about mid-January, they called. So from mid-January till just the other day, we put a rules package together. We came up with a format to run them, put a rules package together, and published the rules package in approximately a month. And basically, goes back to that foundation we already had. It's the highlights are going to be. It's going to be pretty much run. It's going to be a third class for the GRS. It's cars that early pro stocker, so it's pre-1980 pro stocker style vehicles. The rules kind of like with that 72 rule for gasser, it's going to be an 1980 rule for the pro stocker. So that means the hood scoops, the wheels, all that type of stuff, bodies all have to be, era correct for that. And we have there's going to be, I know right now at least 3, possibly 4, not recreations, but real pro stockers of the era.
That's cool.
That are have been restored or in some level, but actually real pro stockers. I know they're big. They're going to run some real high RPM small blocks, and so we're doing that now. One of the differences we're going to do between that class and the other classes is we are going to pair by ETs.
Okay.
The advantage really of to go down that road a little bit of pairing by ETs, it gives the appearance of heads up without the cost of heads up. So that way you can still bracket race for. And forever I've been watching when we pair by ETs, as it progresses through the night, however the ladder, because it's paired fastest to slowest, the ladder goes in one direction. Very seldom do I have number 1 against number 25. So the split is a big split throughout the day will be a couple hundreds, maybe a tenth. And it just kind of follows that through. There's never, even though we have cars that run as slow as 850s and as quick as 560s in the 8th, you don't get that when we pair by ETs. I don't ever recall that happening. So we're going to pair by ETs to keep that heads-up appearance because they should be paired close enough that you could kind of pawn it off as a bad reaction time.
Right.
And we're also going to do a handicap pro tree.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
It gives as much of that pro stock experience to the spectators we possibly can. The racers get that pro tree feel. They get the closeness. And then the rules are just really based around that same pro stock theme. So you got to have the area correct, bodies and so on and so forth.
Gotcha.
And we're hoping for a 10 car count season as an inaugural season, and see how it builds from there.
I already know of a couple of guys putting cars together. Do they have to be? Can they be power glides, or do they have to be manual transmissions?
Nope. We've allowed. We can. Automatics are allowed.
Okay. So obviously trans brakes are going to be allowed since they're allowed in the other classes in the GRS, right?
Yep.
And from a engine standpoint, I'm assuming is it going to be anything goes, or does the manufacturer have to match the body style?
I haven't memorized the rules exactly, but I do believe right now it's manufacturer and body style.
Yeah.
But I don't. Again, that.
And cubic inch limit, is there
there's
any?
None. There's no limits on that, or big block, small block. There's nothing. Whatever fits the bill. Because even back then, you had small blocks running against big blocks.
That's right. Yep.
There's no real limits there. It's basically no electronics. Nothing of that nature.
And I'm assuming at that point, really, to try and keep this affordable and fun and everything. There's no weight breaks or anything like that for one versus the other, right? Again, you're bracket racing.
And that's, and that's what it's about. Again, we don't have the infrastructure to support a real elaborate rules package.
Right.
And we don't want to. Again, because it's supposed to be fun for us, too.
Yep.
So if Mike and Frank and I and Chuck got our heads buried under cars, looking for stuff,
You're not going to eat.
Yeah. He needs to come with a jar.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, there's
But
no doubt.
so yeah, and it's supposed to be. So yeah, it's a very liberal, I think, rules package that's posted on the webpage as well, GasRacingSeries.com. So.
Yeah, and I do know that, even though you would think, well, okay, everyone's just going to go build a big block. I know one of the guys I know is putting a car together is a small cubic inch small block that he's going to be running.
Yeah.
So, clearly, guys are running this because they want to and they think it's cool and fun, not because they have to or they think there's big money in it or anything like that, right? It's like I said, it's really giving the opportunity to the guy to run pro stock or as close to pro stock as really anybody from around here will probably ever get a chance to do.
Right.
So the 4-period correct cars that I know are all going to be small block cars.
Yeah.
They're all Vegas too.
That's
Tony,
okay.
way to go.
Is there anybody that's been a long-time partner with GRS that you want to make mention of, or we're coming right up on our hour here?
You want to start spilling them off or me?
Go ahead. You can. We
well,
can go double up.
Yeah. Well, what I forget you mentioned, because Dan Delaney, which I know was on here, he's been with us and he does tons for the GRS. Mm-hmm. He's worth every penny we pay him.
You pay him the same thing that I pay him, probably.
No, Dan's been great. Dan does all the GRS signs for us, and we have an A-frame we put out in the track, and he does all that. He does great work, and
Champions trophy.
He does all our Champions trophies.
Plaque,
He does a nice hand-painted plaque. It's beautiful work, and he's been with us since the beginning.
Yep.
We got Dan Brockway. He's been a sponsor forever. He's out of Lewiston.
DCB Elevator.
Yeah, DCB Elevator.
Tom's Performance.
Tom Prepsky out of
Orchard
Park.
HKI. Head Knocker
Racing.
Win Racing. Haynes Brothers.
Who else has been with us forever? We're forgetting somebody I know. I had others memorized. What's that?
Imperial Textile.
All our sponsors. JPR Trailers is coming back with us. We just talked to him today.
Trophy sponsor.
Is coming back as our trophy sponsor. He's just lots of the Kirbys. Chuck and Mary Kirby and Mike Edwards are some volunteer. We're all volunteers. It's all a volunteer group.
No, that's not what I heard.
Yeah,
I heard you guys are making millions.
Oh,
That's why my car's not ready yet.
Neither, that's why mine sits in the corner too. But yeah, so they're all they great guns. Those people, they put in lots of time and effort, and they work diligently to put on the picnic to support the racers, and they're not, Chucky's building a car now like all of us, but they just come out and they help us get stuff done, and there's just tons of people. The racers are all very lucky to have them. We're lucky to have them.
Yeah, and I will say that these series, local series like this, though I may be the face of the Western New York Super Rod Association, you guys may be the face of the Gasser Racing Series, right? There's always people that are pitching in behind the scenes to help out however they possibly can.
Yep.
And I have to say it's so appreciated, and at the same point in time, because none of us are getting paid to run these series. We do it because we love drag racing and want to be able to go out and race the kind of style of racing that we want. You can't afford to go out and hire people, so to be able to have people say, hey, you know what, I'll pitch in my time, whatever little bit it may be.
Right.
I know I have people that apologize. Oh, geez, I'm sorry I couldn't come out and help this weekend. It's like, you don't have to apologize. I mean, if you came out and helped for 10 minutes at any one race ever, I'm appreciative of the 10 minutes of help that I got, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that help out like that certainly aren't going to get any awards or any recognition, but I know it's certainly appreciated by you guys.
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to also quickly point out, it would be remiss if I didn't, we have a new series sponsor this year's Wild Rides. out of Medina.
Bob
Signed on
Mesler's
as-
shop.
Yep. Signed on as our series sponsor for the year.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah, I saw the logo on the membership decals.
yeah.
Yeah,
Looks
Bob's,
wild, doesn't it?
Looks good. I like it.
Yeah, Bob's a longtime drag racer. Raced Super Gas with us back at Lancaster Dragway in the 80s. So I've known Bob a long time. I have to say that. Quick story. He actually. So my dad passed away at the end of the 1991 season, and Bob was the guy that came over essentially, 2 weeks after. Okay, come on, let's get this car apart. We got to take the motor, get it over to Jansen, have him freshen it up, and do all the rest of it. And I really wasn't at that point in time in a mental state to do anything. But Bob was the one that kind of pushed me to do that. And I still, here we are 25 plus years later, I haven't forgot that and never will. I mean, I really do appreciate him doing that. Good guy overall, and his kid's racing now, and it's just amazing because, I don't feel old, but I'm pretty damn old.
Well, on that note, since it's getting late in the evening, I think we're going to call it a success. Jamming in 2 shows in one night.
I agree.
It worked. I'm glad that it worked. I'm glad you guys were patient, able to come, and we tried to make sure that everybody was taken care of, and by no means do we try to put one person above another. So certainly, hopefully, that doesn't play in your decisions to come out again and be part of it.
Definitely would like to have you guys back.
Yeah,
we'd like
love
to
to
come
be
back.
back. Yeah.
I love the cars. I love the idea, and I'm really, really anxious to see some of these cars making passes.
You're
really
welcome to
welcome.
give us a call.
Come on out.
We'll get you out there,
Yep.
and I'll make Mike buy you a hamburger.
I say it. Hopefully,
Pays to know the cook, I guess, right?
if things go well and we get our way, hopefully we can get Chris out there actually doing some broadcasting right from the track.
That'd be nice
when you guys are running.
Yeah.
We explained a little bit about what our long-term vision is, and they thought it was pretty cool. But
We talked.
But guys, I appreciate you coming out for sure. It was awesome talking with you, and it's been a very, very enlightening couple hours as we double dip, got episodes number 9 and 10 in the books here tonight. We appreciate everybody also tuning in and hanging out with us. The viewer numbers, which was really cool, were pretty much on par for the whole thing. So pretty much everybody that was watching the first one
Hung around.
assumedly stuck around for the second one, which is cool.
Great.
That's going to do it for us here from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls. Episode number 10 from Final Round in the books. Stay tuned to Facebook. We'll have more details on our guests and our lineup coming up here soon. Thanks a lot.
This has been the Final Round Drag Racing Podcast, coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. We'll see you right back here again in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.